without you guys trying that and me doing a live demo like I want to do in the next video, and actually be able to have you guys see what motions I evoke from certain experiences. And I'm actually really afraid to do the underwater one. I'll tell you guys why at the end of the video. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you right now. Next thing I've written down, the ability to evoke serious emotion. So this is actually something that I'm a little surprised about. I was expecting to get a good sense of depth, but I wasn't expecting to have any kind of serious emotions like, fear, panic, anxiety, any of these things. But you know what? Because of all these factors combined, in some situations, it actually happens. And I'll give you guys some examples. So, Half-Life 2. Alright, so a little older game. If you guys haven't played it recently, you might not remember this, but somewhere towards the very beginning, Gordon makes it to an apartment complex where there's some rebels hiding out. So those the bad guys with the white gas masks, kind of creepy. They actually break in and they're looking for you. So you turn around, they come right in, and the rebels try to hold them off, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta run. So you turn, you start running, right? So still not a big deal. I'm like, all right, running, whatever. I turn around, they're beating the shit out of the rebels. Fine, thanks guys, really appreciate it. I'm gonna peace out. So you leave, you turn, and then there's a stairwell you gotta go up. Now this is where it starts getting to me. So I start running up the stairwell because there's more of them coming, right? I turn around, and they're right there, still running. So the best way I can explain this is it reminds me, I'm sure you guys have seen the first Matrix movie, at the end where Neo's running for that phone, he has the 3 agents after him, and even you, in the audience watching the movie, you start to feel it a little bit. You're like, oh shit, is he going to make it? Is he going to get to the phone? What's going to happen? Like, God, Neo, get out. And so I found myself kind of swept over with a mild panic. And like, oh shit, these guys are going to get me. I got to turn and run. And so I'm like freaking out, running up, and I'm hitting the E key, trying to get out the doors. All the fucking doors look the same, so they're locked. And I'm like, holy shit. And like, I stop for a minute, I pause it, and I put my hand on my chest, and my heart's actually, beating extremely quickly. And I'm going, holy shit, I was not expecting this. And I think that's great because you can go back to a lot of old games as either more support comes out or Vorpix gets released and actually works well. I know Bruce demoed that in his most recent video. He has a beta version of it, and he seems to think it's pretty all right. You guys can definitely check that out if you want. Yeah, no, the extra emotions are really weird, and also in Half-Life 2 a little later on. I don't want to get sued here, but I'm going to use the term buzz droids. So there's these little tiny droids, 2 red eyes. They're flying around. They have a buzz saw in the body. Constantly spinning. You can hear it. Makes a whooshing sound. I gotta admit, man, the first time I ran into those things, you have 3 coming at you. Because the 3D is so real and the immersion is so great, they're coming at me, and I find myself literally backing away. But again, because there's no Z-axis tracking on this thing yet, it doesn't do anything. So, being the awesome, really manly man that I am, I close my eyes and start wildly swinging the crowbar until I take those guys out. I had been testing it with the Hydra, which I actually have behind me on the table there. So that was a pretty cool sensation. But don't want to let that out. I'm clearly a manly man. I just because men don't scream like a high-pitched girl. So we're gonna forget about that. But no, it freaked me out, and so I stopped again after that. I'm like, holy shit, like that's really weird, because I literally felt like, in my vision, it's like coming at my neck, and I'm like backing up, holding my neck, because I'm thinking it really feels like these things are gonna just cut your head off, and you're fucked, and it's both terrifying, fun, and great, all at the same time. So let me just move forward a little bit since we're getting a little bit longer than I wanted this to be. Let's see, what do we have next here? Okay, so lightweight. Doesn't require much explanation. This device is extremely light. I was surprised. You put it on your head, I can turn quickly. It doesn't come loose because of the straps on the side and the top. Not a big deal. You obviously, you know it's there, you feel it, but it's extremely, extremely light. I have no complaints about the weight of this thing so far at all. Let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, so the tracking, the head tracking. Now, it is actually more responsive than I actually would have imagined initially. When you do it in windowed mode for Half-Life 2 and Team Fortress 2, it's nearly instant. Again, if you really look for it, you'll turn and then it's like turn and then it's there, or like turn there, turn there. So it's like if you really look for it, it's like a few milliseconds behind. Not a big deal at all. Like again, when you're playing the games, everything like that, you don't notice it at all. Now, the weird thing is for those games, if you do full screen, the tracking is way off. Like you'll turn and then literally almost maybe half a second to a full second later, it actually catches up, and that's bullshit. Because that's the shit that'll make you feel sick. If you don't have 60 frames per second vertical sync and it's not almost instant, you're gonna feel nauseous as shit right away. So that's no good. So that's what I have for the pros. We're going to go down to the indifferences here now. So brightness and contrast. The actual panel itself, I have no complaints in that sense. Brightness is fine to me. I've heard some people complain. I got no problems with it. Contrast is fine for what it is as well. Again, it's not something you put on. You go, holy shit. You know, the color fidelity, contrast, brightness is trash. No, you don't say that. It's not a big deal. Move on. Okay, next one I touched on a little bit. Now, if you use the C cup, it's the most focused, but your frame of view is actually the smallest. So you want to try to find a balance if you can. The last indifference I have here is this fucking annoying cable. You know, I don't know what's wrong with them, why they couldn't just, you know, I think the best thing to do is to run it straight along the band to the back and then just out again. Or if you can do a wireless solution that is quick enough to track all this, that's fine too. No problems there. But, you know, to leave it dangled like this, when I have friends come over and try it, I have my father try this as well, you know, I had to hold it up so that they don't get tangled, and, you know, it's kind of a mess. And especially you got those crazy people in the videos who are like crashing into the walls and shit. I mean, you're going to pull this whole thing right down off somebody's system. So I feel like it at least needs to go along the band here to the back, or even over the top band. Top band would be fine too. And then just let it dangle out the back. I think that would be great. Okay, so cons. We're already at 20 minutes, but there are a few things I want to spend some time on here. So again, no particular order. So cons. So if you do A cup and you have this thing on, it literally touches your eyes unless you use the cranks on the side to move the thing forward. If you have slightly longer eyelashes, it's going to be really annoying. So that's my only thing. And so say you use A and you turn the cranks to move this out a little bit. The further out this goes, you lose more frame of view, meaning you will start to see black on the sides if you do it for too long. Or not too long, but if you crank it out too far, rather. So you really want to leave it all the way cranked in if you can, and just change the lens. It's much better. Another con that I have is the face mask padding peels off. After letting a bunch of friends try this, the whole top had peeled off. Easy solution, I super glued the shit out of it. Doesn't, you know, no problems at all. Nothing comes off. No big deal. Okay, this next one, a little bit more of a problem. Face sweat and just overall sweating when you're in this thing. So when you're in this thing for even 15 minutes, your face sweats a lot. And what happens is the sweat comes down onto the lens and it blurs the picture. So I find myself every now and then taking the thing off, taking my shirt, wiping it off, going back in. All right, we're back in the game. Immersion's back. Good to go. So, you know, that's a toss-up. You know, you can't really keep the immersion by letting a lot of light into this thing to air it out. So, I mean, I don't know that there's a way around that. I personally, deal breaker, not at all. You just take the thing off for 2 seconds, clean it, back in the game, you're good. Let's see. So that also brings me to lens fog, dirt on the actual screen, and then I already covered cleaning the screen and wiping it often. So once a week, I take the lenses out and clean them in the sink with just some dish soap. Gets it really clean, really clear. Great. I suggest that highly. Use something soft though. You don't want to scratch the lens, obviously. Now, dirt particles on the actual screen, you do notice that a lot, and I don't know how the hell it gets in there if you're not taking the lenses off too much, but little dirt particles, and because the lenses really focus in on this stuff, you find that because you can zoom in to a certain part of the picture, the smallest speck is huge when you're on that. So you got to take the lenses out, take a cloth, or some kind of blower, blow the shit out, wipe the stuff to the side of the screens that's out of your vision. That works as well. Let's see. So I think this comes now to the most important thing, the question of the day that you guys have been waiting for. Sorry, I had to save this to the end. This seems to be the big thing. So you guys were asking about screen door effect, resolution. Is it a deal breaker? What size screen do you guys think, or what size screen do I think would actually make this better? So here's the deal. In my opinion, the resolution itself is not the problem. The screen door effect, okay, the fact that when you put it on, you see pixels. I mean, there's no ways around that. They're actually a little smaller than what I was expecting from everything I read. Still noticeable, still fucks up the picture a good bit. Is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not, because the immersion factor and everything else, when people say your brain starts to overlook that as you play, 100% true. After a little bit, you see it, but your brain doesn't really pick on it, I guess. It's not like, oh, holy shit, like, look at all these pixels. No, it's not like that. The problem, however, is the space between the pixels, which creates the screen door effect, as people have been, referring to it as. So that's the real problem, because you can easily see black between these pixels, and that starts to fragment the picture a little bit. And so again, that just comes down to pixels per inch, not necessarily screen resolution, in my opinion, though that would fix it, because this is a 7-inch screen. Say you have another 7-inch screen, let's say it's a 1080 panel. Well, that means you're going to have a higher PPI, which is pixels per inch, which means as you magnify it, you're not going to see as many of them. The other option is for them to go back to their 5 or 5.5 inch model. I forget exactly how big it was, but this is the 7. They had a 5 or 5.5 inch model. So let's say you have the same amount of pixels as this thing on a 5.5 inch model. Well, that means the pixels are going to be smaller, and again, PPI will be greater, meaning you're not gonna see it that much. Now, if they keep this size, do I think a 1080 panel would work? Yeah, I think if they doubled the pixels that it is right now, and as they say, 1080p is double the pixels of 720. Not exactly true, but let's just go with it. So that that would work. You would notice it a whole hell of a lot less. The problem becomes, as the resolution gets higher, you're going to start to need some really serious machines to run this. Like, one good thing about running at 1280 by 800 is that it's a lower resolution. You don't need a serious rig to run that at high, full, anti-aliasing, full everything. I have a GTX 670. I can run those things. It's a little bit more of a higher end card, but again, at that resolution, you can run things, a lot less quality. So there is that. So again, at the end of the day, that more or less sums up my video here. But end of the day, is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not. I don't want to misconstrue anything that I've said. Yes, there are cons. Keep in mind, this is first generation dev kit. They're adding a lot more for the second one that'll be coming out. I have no idea when, but it'll be out obviously before the consumer version. And then by the time consumer version rolls around, I think we're going to be good to go on this, because there'll be better panels, much higher PPI. I have full confidence seeing what this looks like now. By the time they get to the first gen, consumer version, not going to be a problem, guys. So anything that you read where people are like, oh, this is a deal breaker, no, fuck them. It's not. I promise you. This thing is so badass and cool when you're in these fucking games. I mean, the fact that you can take a game like Half-Life 2 and just make it into something, basically experience it in an entirely different way, and you really do, especially, with all the emotions I said, and just completely different 3D perspective on it. I mean, it literally, it's like replaying this game again, in my opinion, the way it should have been initially. So, I mean, I'll talk more about Half-Life 2 in the video where I can actually play it and explain things at the time. I think you guys will get much more out of that. So this video ran about just short of 30 minutes. Sorry to make you guys tune in. Maybe you guys can split it up and just watch it, on your own like that. As always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Please leave me any questions. I'll definitely touch on, anything you want on the next video if anything was unclear here. But if you're taking anything away from that, just know this thing is awesome. There's nothing in here that makes this a deal breaker for me, but I will tell you right now, do not go into this thinking that you're going to have a screen that looks like your monitor, because that's not the case at all. You can see pixels, you see black between the pixels. Your brain will filter that out eventually, and you're just going to have a shitload of fun. Which means by the time they get to the second gen, prototype and then consumer, it's just going to be fucking awesome. So again, I'm going to stop this video. I appreciate you guys stopping by. If you have any friends who are interested in the Rift, go ahead and link them the video. Maybe they'll hear something they haven't heard before. So next video, we're going to do Half-Life 2, and I'm going to show you this underwater thing with the shark. I don't want to spoil it in this video, but it freaks me the fuck out, and I'm afraid to show you the part that I'm going to show you when we do the next video. So you guys will be able to see a recorded version of me freaking out when I come face to face with a shark that literally wants to eat your face. And because of the immersion, it feels real. It literally made me want to take this off and not go back into the underwater demo again. And I'll 100% explain how and why as I'm doing it. So again, appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm going to cut this off now. Please leave me comments, anything you want. If there's something you guys want demoed, let me know. And to the creator of the Infinite Runner demo with the colorful ninja and all that, I'd love to get my hands on that to test it out and review for everybody. I actually sent you an email back in the day. I didn't hear back from you. If you happen to see this, please send me a message. I really would love to check that out. I know Bruce got a chance to do it, and I would really love to as well. So again, thanks again, guys, cutting this off. And enjoy your night. I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.